Is it too late for you to start exercising? Regardless of what age you are, this is a question that can often go through people's minds thinking, am I actually going to get any benefits from exercising if I start now? It's been so long since I've exercised consistently, or I've never exercised at all. Well, that question is not unique to you if you have been experiencing. In fact, so many people do have that question that on today's episode of the Exercise is Health podcast, we're going to be diving into and exploring that question of, is it too late for you to start? We're going to cue the intro song and then we're going to dive right into this conversation. Welcome to the Exercise is Health podcast, where we're talking about exercise, health, and the interconnectedness of the two. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we will be coming to you every single week from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Charlie. Before we dive into this week's episode, I want to let you know that we recently released a book called The Exercise for Life Method. And if you enjoy the conversations that we have every single week on this podcast, then you are going to love this book. So to pick up a free copy of this book, all you have to do is go to exerciseforlifemethod.com. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this week's episode. Hey, welcome back, exercisers, to the Exercise is Health podcast. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we're coming to you from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg, here in Schaumburg, Illinois, where we believe that your health is your most valuable asset, and the single best thing that you can do to both boost and protect this asset is exercise. Specifically, exercise is geared towards building the health and function of your muscles. Now, so many of you exercisers have taken the time to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and for those of you who have done that, we want to say thank you for doing so, because it allows our message to reach more people who are in need of hearing the messages that we share every single week on the Exercise is Health podcast. So if you enjoy the conversations that we have every week, take a little bit of time out of your day to leave us that rating and review. It really means the world to us when you do. And on that note, we want to highlight a review that we recently received.
This review says, fantastic info. You guys are so fun and easy to listen to. Very inspiring. I love the episode about the benefits of exercise. I have osteoporosis and feel strongly about maintaining bone health, so very good job explaining all the different categories of benefits. I look forward to future episodes. Thank you so much for this 5-star review, and I love this review because it highlights one of the conditions that exercise is so potent for helping. And there are so many different categories of benefits with exercise, like bone health, muscle health, joint health, brain function, metabolism, and that's just to name a few. But, you know, the only way you're going to get benefits from exercise is if you start. And so that's why we're talking about that today, because some people have the false belief that it might be too late for me to start.
That is true. Now, Julie, have you ever woken up one day and realized, holy crap, there's something in my life that's completely passed me by, and I'm not going to be able to get that thing back?
Yep.
Yeah, me too. And it might be something as superficial as like, holy crap, I'm never going to be a professional basketball player. And like, you know, then that realization hits you. You're like, oh my gosh, this is never, like, it's too late for me to do this thing.
Or I remember when I got my first gray hair, I thought, what? I didn't even know that the window of my time with no gray hair was, and now it is past, because I'm forever going to have gray hair now.
There you go. That's it. No, that's a really good example. And I think a lot of people can relate to this of like, you wake up one day and you know what, depending on where you are in life, it may feel like those days happen more frequently than they do, you know, when you are in your teens and 20s and 30s. You know, there's a point in your life where it's like the entire world seems like just one big possibility. And then at some point, one of those realizations kicks in, and then another, and it can compound on itself. And at some point you might get the idea, the notion going through your head of like, is it too late for me to start feeling strong? Is it too late for me to start feeling healthier? Is it too late for me to feel like I can move better or feel like I can be confident in my body again? And, you know, those are all benefits that we discuss as far as like what you can get, what you can achieve when you exercise consistently. But if you don't believe that like it is within the realm of possibility for you to achieve those things, you thereby may be feeling like, maybe it's just too late for me to actually see any benefits from exercise. And so that's what we want to discuss today. This idea of like, is it too late for me to start? Because I think a lot of people wrestle with this idea. And so the more you believe like, maybe I'm on the cusp of it being too late. I don't know if it's worth it then, should I put forth the effort? So we want to discuss that head on today.
I remember I had a new client come in and I had known him from just the local business association, our Chamber of Commerce. And it was interesting because he was very interested and he was in his late 50s. And one day he said to me, like, is it too late to start, Julie? And I thought to myself, like, what? Like, I had never even thought of that. Like, I personally am not at that age. So I don't know. There's not like a age where people start thinking this. But the more I thought about this idea, the more I realized that it was like, is it too late for what? It's never too late to start getting incremental benefits from exercise. I mean, we have a whole program called the One Workout Away Challenge because we know you are literally one workout away from feeling better, functioning better, having a healthier body. All it takes is one workout, and really just thinking about one workout at a time, and you're only one workout away. That's why we named it that. But anyways, you have to be thinking through that lens. I think so much of health and fitness is still based in our upbringing with health and fitness, which is often like sports and professional athletes. So, I mean, if you're in your 60s or 50s, it's probably too late to go to the NBA. I don't know of anyone in that age range that's going to the NBA, but it is absolutely never too late to start feeling better, functioning better, and being healthier from starting exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. The key is how you're exercising needs to be appropriate and sustainable for your body. And that really is a big thing. While we say, okay, yeah, you are one workout away from feeling better, from functioning better, from living healthier, everything like that we put into the One Workout Away Challenge, the truth is you need to keep repeating that one workout in order to keep repeating those results, in order to continue to build on those results day after day. And you don't get that by doing, crazy workouts that are just thrashing your body and that leave you feeling lousy. You do that by exercising in ways that are sustainable for your body, that don't break down your body, that don't burden your life, right? Like, how do you go about exercising in ways that are sustainable for your body, that are sustainable for your schedule, that you can keep coming back to day after day for decades on end, right? That's kind of the question that we continue to pose in this podcast. And so we want to offer a simple 3-step system today to start you on that path. Now, I want to put out, before we dive into the system, that if you're hearing this right now and you're thinking, oh yeah, like, that's nice, Charlie. It's very, very encouraging that you are offering these words of, like a bright and shiny future, that, if you start, like, it's never too late, and that we can all improve and stuff. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of truth to that. In fact, a paper that was released in 2018, I believe, 2018 or 2019, one of those two, definitively showed that it is truly never too late to start. That when they took people who had not exercised at all, any kind of consistency throughout their entire lives, and started them in their 50s, in their 60s, and beyond, they still saw health boosting, longevity boosting benefits from starting to exercise on a consistent basis. So even if you have never done it before in your life and today is day one for you, awesome. You can still get benefits from it, and that's what we want to explain, how to go about doing that during today's episode.
I think one great way to see benefits of exercise is like when you cross over different thresholds of being able to do stuff and not being able to do stuff. Like, Charlie, a couple weeks ago, I can't remember if you had made a video or where you were talking about this, but you were saying, like, it's interesting because you've always been able to do what you can do until the day that you can't. Yeah. Let me give you an example of this. I had this with a client. She came in saying, I just can't get out of my car normally. Like, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I just can't get out of my car normally. So, I'm interviewing her about what she's doing and what she's not doing. And she's never exercised. She's in her early 60s. And, it was just all of a sudden one day she couldn't do the motions and the functions, get in and out of her car, which is pretty critical for her, moving around this world and going to the things she wants to do. And so what was interesting was that that threshold was always there. She was always getting closer to not being able to get in and out of her car with ease. And then one day she woke up and she didn't even realize, but she had crossed over that threshold of now it's being excessively awkward getting in and out of the car. The good thing is that when you start exercising and taking care of your body, function-wise, those thresholds are still there. She rebuilt the strength to be able to get in and out of her car easier. Other things that were challenging for her was kneeling at church and getting in and out over that little tiny lip in her shower. She's like, it's so weird. Like, I didn't know, like I was getting closer to not being able to do that. So what's really cool is there are so many health benefits, including your ability to function in your world that we don't even think of, that is actually related to your health and fitness, not related to you getting old. It's just that time passed and you weren't working on maintaining and keeping your strength. And now that you're going to start maintaining and keeping and building your strength, you will find that many of these things you can return to.
Yeah, that's really one of the coolest things about it all is we think, okay, health is, blood values and, the conversations you have at the doctor's office, everything like that. No, it is your ability to do the things that you want to do and do them at the level that you want to do them and do them with the relative ease that you want to be able to do them, that you're accustomed to being able to do them. And whether it's something as, seemingly simple that most of us take for granted, like being able to get up out of the car or, step over the lip of our shower, regardless of what it is, like your ability to keep doing those things is fully dependent upon your ability to continue to be healthy. And exercising, regardless of when you're starting, can boost your ability to continue to be healthy. So how do we go about starting to exercise if we haven't been doing it consistently or we haven't been doing it at all and we're kind of wondering, okay, well, is it too late for me to get any benefits from this? All right, so we have a 3-step system to follow. Step number 1 is to start moving more throughout your day. Now, this is not like structured exercise that we're talking about. What I'm talking about is standing up from your chair and walking for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time. The stuff that we call all the time exercise that we don't typically classify as exercise. You take a walk or, a little loop around your living room and you're like, okay, that's my workout for today. Like we don't have those conversations with ourselves, but it's still physical activity. So it still counts for something, right? So what you do is you stand up and you move around 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, but you do it multiple times throughout the day. And this has some pretty profound impact on your brain and your ability to see more opportunities to get up and do this more throughout your day. As you stand up and you start moving more throughout your day, you'll start signaling to your brain, hey, this getting up and moving around, this is an important thing for me to do. And when your brain thinks something's important, it's going to start seeing and start seeking out more opportunities for you to do that within the schedule that you already have. So even if you feel like, my life is too slammed or anything like that, I've never done it before, just start by getting up and moving 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, but doing it multiple times throughout the day. And that is a huge first step in the right direction to being able to exercise on a consistent basis.
Charlie, this is a great first tip and a great place to start. And I think our biggest challenge across the board, whether you're busy, not busy, sedentary, very active, whatever, is that I think we're all creatures of habit. And what we do every day kind of becomes habitual, meaning if you work and you have a desk job, well, that routine is kind of like ingrained in your body. Or if you are a stay-at-home parent and, there's certain times of your day that you're active, certain times that you're not, or maybe you're retired and you like reading or doing puzzles or, whatever you like to do, trying to find time that you can move throughout your day is way more impactful than people like to give credit to. And it is absolutely a great place to start, mostly because it takes minimal skill. It takes most of the skill that it takes is going to be your mental and emotional dedication, saying, I'm going to do this. I am going to have 5 bouts throughout the day where I just get up and walk. And it's best to do this in a time when you wouldn't otherwise be walking. Like when you go walk the grocery store, that doesn't count towards one of your bouts. But if you're watching a TV show in the evening, getting up through that part, or if you're working, getting up through your work time, or walking before and after lunch, things like that. So this first step is as much as we want to like just start physically when we think, oh, I'm going to start exercising. But this one is kind of, I think, more of a mental dedication. I'm going to do this. I'm going to disrupt my day. And actually, there's a lot of research that shows that the more you're moving throughout the day, the more productive you are. So don't feel like, oh, I'm disrupting my project. But it's almost like taking this break is actually going to keep me more focused on what I actually need to do.
Yeah, exactly. You start implementing this discipline on a consistent basis, and the things that you are concerned about it, disrupting or whatever, like those won't even cross your mind anymore, because you'll see your productivity increase. You'll see your energy and your mood and your focus and your mental stamina and everything like that start to increase by sticking to this discipline of getting up and moving consistently throughout your day. Again, it's not a huge chunk of time, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, but it's done intermittently throughout the day, making sure that you are getting up and moving. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to start to implement convenient, what we call special event exercise. So special event exercise is exercise that we typically classify as exercise: going for the run, lifting the weights, doing the group class, working with the trainer, okay? Whatever pops in your mind when you think of exercise, it's usually done at, a relatively higher intensity. It's what we would look at as like a special event in our schedule. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to go work out. Like, this isn't something where it's like, oh, I'm going to, go for a walk and read a book. It's like, no. Like, that is the thing that I'm doing right now. This event is my workout. And so because of that, like, it's a special event in your day, usually changing your clothes, changing your shoes, whatever, all that stuff. Like, we've talked about that a lot on other podcasts, but the big thing with this is it has to be convenient. What that means is, don't join the gym that's like 20 minutes out of your way, unless 20 minutes out of your way is something that's like that's the only option for you, right? Like, it has to be convenient. So whether it means working out at home, working out outside, using the fitness center at the bottom of your corporate building, stopping at the big box gym that's between your home and office, whatever is convenient for you and is just in the natural flow of your day, start implementing this more special event or more traditional exercise using this lens of, well, it has to be convenient first and foremost.
Absolutely. And convenience is going to be key in the longevity of this, because you'll know it's accessible to you, whether, again, you're exercising at home or at a gym that's easy for you to get to, or wherever it is. And as we mentioned before, is that you have to be doing this in a sustainable manner. So many of our other podcasts are focused on, like, how do you take your exercise to become more sustainable, making it more appropriate for your body and things like that. But it has to be convenient and it has to be sustainable. It can't be harassing your body, because, again, this needs to be something that you can repeat, that you can keep doing. It can't be something that is like, ooh, it's fun and flashy right now, but it's something that I'm going to have to stop. I can't see myself doing this in 10 years. I can't see myself doing this in 5 years, whatever it is. And I think a lot of us are attracted to those types of convenient exercise, ones that we won't be able to continue. So keep those in mind when you're thinking about getting in these special event exercise. And I do want to highlight that if you listen to point number 1, which was move throughout your day, and you're like, wow, I'm already moving throughout my day, that's awesome. Step number 1 checked off. Don't discount step number 2. I have so many clients, especially women in their 50s and 60s, that only use walking around, moving throughout their day as their form of exercise. It is a great form of exercise, but it is absolutely not the only form of exercise, and it will not help you maximize your exercise results. So make sure that you are definitely getting in your special event exercise. You need to be doing this as special event exercise because it has unique properties to benefit your health, like the amount of your body that you're using, the areas of your body that you're using, and the intensity that these special event exercises will be.
And not only that, Julie, but to build off the point that you brought up earlier, it's like everybody can go for walks until the day they can't. Like, how many people have you talked with where they're like, well, walking was my thing, but now my feet hurt and my knees hurt and my hips and my shoulders and my back. And it's like everything hurts now, and now I can't walk. It's like, okay, yeah, but I know walking was your thing, and that was the thing that you like really liked doing. But because you omitted all this other stuff that you needed in order to be supportive of your body and be able to keep walking, now all of a sudden the one thing that you were doing, you're not able to do anymore because you more or less like you didn't take care of your body enough to be able to keep doing that thing. And I think a lot of people end up finding themselves in that position. So we don't want you to find yourself in that position. So that's why step number 2 is so very important. Even if you are moving consistently throughout your day, up and walking around, that's awesome. But you still need to do this supportive exercise, what we call special event exercise, to strengthen your muscles, make sure your joints keep functioning well, so you can keep being up and moving around and everything like that. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is to hire guidance and accountability. All right. And this is a really, really big step. The reason being is because this is one of the primary things that's going to keep you consistent with your workouts. Because what's going to happen eventually is you're going to get a little voice in your head that says, oh, you know what? I've been pretty consistent with my workouts. It's no big deal if I don't show up today. And then it's like, well, 2 days in a row missing, like, it's not that bad. I just haven't worked out yet this week, and I'll just start again next week. Oh, next week got a little bit busy. This month is just no good for me. I'm just, and we have those conversations with ourselves. And so having guidance, having accountability, and specifically the kind that you've actually put skin in the game for, meaning you've actually hired, you've paid money for, guess what? That's going to keep you going so much better than just, finding a workout buddy because you can talk yourselves out of it. Or, finding, the free videos on YouTube to, get some feedback and stuff while you're doing the workouts because you can talk yourself out of it. What you need is a surefire way to help yourself not talk yourself out of it, because we all fall into that trap of like, well, one day, it's just not that big of a deal. We're missing one workout, it's just not that big of a deal. And you're right. One day, one workout may not be that big of a deal, but it's the compounding effect of 1 day to 2, 2 days to 5, 5 days to a month. And then all of a sudden you're back in the same place that you found yourself right now while you're listening to this podcast. So hiring that guidance, hiring that accountability, yes, they will help you to troubleshoot issues. Yes, they will help you to keep you going. They're going to help keep you consistent and do so in a sustainable way.
Absolutely. One thing I really liked that you said was that hiring accountability and guidance will help put skin in the game. Not only that, it's pretty common that people embark on health goals in their head and they never share it like with other people. And I think one thing is like when you hire a trainer or hire someone to help you with different health related things, you have to share with them what you're thinking. And I think that they can help you on those days that you're not feeling motivated, because motivation comes and goes. But what matters is that you keep continuing with your exercise even when you don't feel like it, because as Charlie was saying, how, days can go by and weeks can go by and months can go by and people think it's no big deal. Well, we can apply this to a lot of reasons of why these things might go by. We go through different seasons of life. We have joints, aches and pains. So many people use joints, aches and pains as reasons why we shouldn't exercise. So things like that just really work with our logic to tell us, yeah, we should not exercise. Yeah, it's just not going to work out. But really, you should. And it's never too late to get going.
Exactly. So what's the issue if you're like, okay, well, this was great, but I'm not going to follow your system. I'm not going to follow your advice. Like, thanks for the information. Yeah, this wasn't for me. What's the issue with that? Well, one is we find a lot of people that kind of disregard this type of system. They are on this constant roller coaster of stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting, until they get to the day where they stop and then they just stop for good. And, they keep living life, but they stop exercising for good. And the problem with that is every passing day that goes by, every day that you get older, those effects of old age, they compound more and more and more. They compound faster and faster and faster. And what you felt like you lost from a strength perspective from 45 to 50, all of a sudden gets amplified from 50 to 55. And then it's just minuscule when you compare with 55 to 60. And we're talking a completely different league, 60s. So it's 60 to 65, right? So it's like every, chronological time increment, it's like you lose more stuff during that time when you're not doing stuff, right? And so if you're not following this simple system of getting up, moving around, and then finding a really convenient way to do your exercise, and then putting some skin in the game to make sure that you're doing it in a way that's safe and sustainable and that you're staying accountable to it, just following those 3 steps, it can completely alleviate the risk of getting to that place where you're like, yeah, I can't do that because, I haven't been able to do it for 15 years. I haven't been able to do it for 20 years. And then you start getting in that voice in your head like, yeah, maybe it is too late for me. Maybe it is too late to start. So the opposite end of that is just by following this simple system, getting up and moving around throughout the day, finding a convenient way to get your workouts in, and having somebody help you, guide you, keep you accountable, and keep you consistent with your workouts, you can completely bypass that idea of like, oh yeah, no, I don't need to give that up because I'm too old. I don't need to figure out a new way to get out of my car. I don't need to worry of like, okay, am I going to be able to step over the lip of my shower so I can get in and out of the shower? Like, those concerns don't have to cross your mind because you are continuously building your health. You are continuously building and maintaining your strength by exercising in a safe and sustainable manner.
That's right. I feel like, when people say, I'm just getting old, it's from getting old. Getting old, or blaming your age, this getting old, is basically just this progressive acceptance of ability loss. And you can either decide that you are in a progressive acceptance of ability loss, or you can continue to say, I'm going to keep working on my abilities. I'm going to keep maintaining what I have. And I'll give it to you. It's hard to say like, okay, I'm going to prevent myself from, losing the ability of getting in and out of my car. You would never think of that until the day you lose the ability to get in and out of your car. But thinking about, okay, once I start exercising, I'm going to be preventing this ability loss. So start thinking about it that way. There is so much benefit to starting exercise, whether you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Just get started. Use our 3-step system. And make sure you really include all 3 steps of the 3-step system.
Absolutely. Each one is there for a specific reason. Now, if you're hearing this and you're like, okay, this is awesome, I'm going to start implementing, what do I do next? We put out a completely free training. It's broadcasted multiple times throughout the week. It's called Exercise for Life Secrets. And all you have to do to get registered for this training is go to secrets.exerciseforlifemethod.com. And we'll share with you the 3 secrets that you need to know in order to consistently build your health, build your strength through exercise, through what we call the Exercise for Life method. All right. So just go to secrets.exerciseforlifemethod.com. Like we say, it's completely free. There's absolutely no cost to attend. It's broadcast multiple times throughout the week. So just choose the time that works best for you. So who do you know that needs to hear this episode? Who do you know that is having these concerns of like, oh my gosh, like I've heard that I should be exercising. Like I know I should be exercising, but honestly, I don't know if at this point, like it's even worth it for me to exercise. It may be too late for me. Share this episode with them so they can learn not only why it's not too late for them to start, but how to go about getting started in a way that they can do consistently and sustainably. And while you're online, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It helps people find this episode when they're looking for information on exercise and when they're looking for information on health. So if you found value in this conversation today, let us know by leaving us that 5-star rating and review. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week. So how'd you like that episode? Did you find the information useful? If you enjoyed what we discussed today, then you are going to love the Exercise for Life method, which is a book that we just put out and you can get a free copy of by going to exerciseforlifemethod.com. All we ask is that you pay for shipping and handling. So head there now and get your free copy, as well as some exclusive bonuses that you will get instant access to when you get the book. You can learn more and get your copy at exerciseforlifemethod.com. This podcast is for information purposes only. The statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Julie and Charlie Gates, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical issue, consult a licensed physician.